Pasco, Mr. Paulsen, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on my colleague, Sam Johnson, when he had had his interaction with you, if you read further on the memo of the Secretary of Defense, it's very clear that the Department of Defense is concerned about the approach that is being taken here. It says, therefore, DoD does not believe that the findings in the reports impact the ability of DoD programs to acquire the steel or aluminum necessary to meet national defense requirements. DoD continues to be concerned about the negative impact on our key allies regarding the recommended options within the reports. But let me go this way, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Secretary. Look, I don't believe this is the right approach to implement these tariffs. I can't stress enough, though, the importance of making sure we're limiting the impact of these tariffs on metal-consuming companies and their workers who, you know, in the end could be very less competitive globally by higher prices. And having an exclusion process that is fair and grandfathering in existing contracts is critical. I'm hearing from small manufacturers in my state of Minnesota. We have Harvey Vogel Manufacturing Company. They're located in Minnesota. They specialize in metal stamping and fabrication, and they say they're already seeing pretty big price increases from their suppliers because of the threats of these tariffs coming into place. And they also say their customers now are worried about what the future holds. And for them, they're a company that say the tariffs are now even probably the top trade issue aside from the uncertainty that they've had around NAFTA. We're a border state, and we have a lot of trade with Canada and Mexico, obviously. And then, as I mentioned yesterday, when Ambassador Lighthizer was here, R&M Manufacturing, which is also Minnesota, small business, they have set contracts. They clearly say they will not be able to renegotiate with their larger customers regardless of material costs, which are going up. So I just have a strong concern about lost manufacturing jobs, just as happened historically, if history is our guide, back in the early 2000s when this has been done before. But, Mr. Secretary, can you just briefly dive into this a little bit about and explain maybe, has the department really analyzed the broader supply chain economic effects that the tariffs could have in terms of job loss downstream in other industries or in consumer prices in general?
Yes, we have. In fact, we handed out, I believe, to each of the committee members a series of charts showing the interaction between steel prices and aluminum prices historically on auto production, on recreational vehicles, on construction, on a whole variety of industries. And we also have done our own analysis and have studied analytical reports by various other parties and have come to the conclusion that there, in the aggregate, will not be material damage inflicted. Indeed, this is a very small segment of the economy. The total tariffs that we were originally talking about before any exclusions for countries or products is less than 0.5% of the economy.
Mr. Martin, you're recognized.